Okay, welcome back to this awesome display of awesomeness. I'm right on this point where, hold on, right at this point where, the, there's a change in, cognitive processing where I feel like I have more free energy. And I still don't have the mobility, so it's kind of confusing. Pelvis, the pelvic wall, as I call it, is very difficult to get past. And by that I mean it takes a long time. There's a lot of things that have to change. The body, when it locks you down, it really takes you all the way. And everything lower, especially, is really quite a process to get out of. All that thick tissue and stuff has to, your power legs, your glutes and stuff, all that stuff has to pull itself back to life. It takes a long time. But I'm starting to feel different again. Like my last video, I was starting to feel different. And it's happening again, right? So the cognitive processing changes. And it first started happening back in the winter time. When I got to my left hip. Once that unlocked, my cognitive speed improved instantly. It's like the motor functioning of your thinking improved immediately. And I felt different, right? I felt like, oh, there I am. This is me right here. And then several months later, somewhere around the start of July, maybe a little before July, I started feeling different again. And then now, a third time, I'm different again. I feel different. My ability to speak is changing, right? The way that I think about words is coming to me differently now. I don't know how to explain that. It's like rather than store a bunch of information in the short-term memory and then speak it, I'm dealing with like some kind of like storm of like electric storm type of thing where it's harder for me to say the words. So I don't know what the explanation is for that, but I feel actually less confident with my speaking abilities. I feel more of a nervous energy. Yeah, I don't know. That's just the change. I noticed the change. I can notice the change and say, what the fuck? So, totally my mental state is dependent upon the physical state. And some, even though I have decreased mobility, there are like certain things that feel better than my normal state. So that's really weird. So the cool thing about having myofascial pain syndrome, apart from the extreme torture. Wait, that's not cool. No, that's not cool. Not even a little bit. But the cool thing is that I get to actually see the change that comes with dysfunction and reactivation of my own tissue. I get to see the broad range of like almost personality changes. It's not really personality change, but it is kind of like that because the way I am, the way I say things changes based on my ability to use my memory type of thing. I don't know how to explain it. But it's directly tied to the functioning of my tissue. Directly tied. I don't know how it's tied, but it is. So, I don't know. This world is terribly cruel. You know, you have all these people that don't know how useful they could be. And then you sit there and watch all the potential being wasted. And people providing information that seems like it could be useful or helpful or reassuring or like you're in good hands, we will take care of you. But then when it comes down to it, they don't. So I don't know what that is or why that is the way it is. But I don't know. It's the same reason why people give all their baggage to small children. Why are you doing that? You know, rather than teach them what is needed for survival or what is needed in our society to help people, they just unload all their trash, their mental garbage onto you, passing a message from who the fuck knows where. And you don't have the information of why, you don't know what to do with it, and you try to do something with it, but then people say, no, not like that, and then they don't tell you what the fuck you're supposed to do. And when you need help, they don't help you, and that's my reality. I don't know why it is this way. But, as my father said, life is hard, and that's it. Life is just hard. So I don't know why. I don't know why not make it easier then if it is hard. But apparently we can have the correct logic, but we don't want to challenge the logic to make things better for everybody. But, so a little before July, and now it's August 10th, 2026, and I have the same change that's taking place. It's, I don't have the exact map of my previous battle. I fought this myofascial pain syndrome thing for a long time. And, there's certain things that I'm curious about, especially time-wise. If it's happening on the same date of the calendar type thing, because that opens up a whole new... not that it really matters, because I'm still fighting it's still my body, but it just like, what does that imply? I mean, the speed of recovery is exactly the same. The speed of dysfunction is exactly the same. It didn't feel like it was exactly the same. There are subtle differences, but sometimes things, take your mind off of what you're doing, and so you don't record all the information. and you might miss a few things, but I was really on top of this one even more than ever. And I have the information. I have data. I don't want to have to fight this battle again. I didn't want to fight it this time. I'm tired of it. It's very painful. It's very painful. But there's no choice. I mean, the system requires you to, pay money to survive. And the goodness of people apparently is absent or can't be found. People always want something from you, or they always give you crap. There's never an easy life, it seems. The easiest my life has been is when I'm being tortured by my own body, which is because, which is not easy, right? But it makes me curious why somebody is always there to attack you, even if they don't realize it. They just do it. It's just like they're following a command to be a pain in your ass, literally and figuratively. I don't know what it is, but I'm sitting there watching it as much as I'm feeling it and trying to deal with it, trying to figure out what's a better way to deal with it. And I don't know. I'm just dying. So I guess it's getting easier as I age because I'm getting closer to the grave. Just a waste of my own life. It's a waste of my own potential. But who cares, right? Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. There's a lot of problems with this world, and a lot of things can be solved if you have the right information, the right tools, or if you have a financial advantage, then you can buy your way out of a lot of things. But I don't know. I am not seeing this. I'm not seeing problem solving. I'm seeing changes that are pretty much in line with changes made in the past. So it's not really a solution. But I don't know. I'm disappointed. I'm greatly disappointed. I have been my whole life. So I don't know what you're trying to accomplish here. But I'm sitting here watching it, taking the abuse, and no one cares. No one fucking cares. But a lot of people will say the same thing. A lot of people say nobody cares. But then, who's going to use their energy to actually care? If you recognize that it needs to happen, but it's not happening, well, somebody's got to do it, right? But of course, you go down these lines, walking through language and trying to explain one thing to another. The same word that we used means something different to me as it does to you. So we can never truly communicate. And any efforts to solve a problem in organized group form tend to fail because we waste too much time disagreeing with what needs to be done. And we don't know ourselves. We don't know humanity well enough to organize. We don't know humanity well enough to be on top of a problem, If things happen to people, and that can ruin your entire structure. And we're not prepared for that. The best you can do to prepare from this lower perspective is to simply adapt yourself to understanding and and seeing. I don't know how to explain that, but it's desensitization with traumatic. I mean, you understand that bad things can happen, and then you sort of harden yourself so that you can't, you don't waste too much time dealing with it. But it's not a good model either. I'm just saying it's hard to actually know what the right thing is to do. You could assume that all the abuse that you have to take is just part of the God's plan, and then just wait for the right time for things to make sense. That's another way you could do it, but it's either way, it's like, well, something is wrong today and it's not being fixed, and it's really hard for me to pretend that is not the case. The script that I read is from my mind. It comes out with my state changes. So I don't know what that is, but the script, the words that come out in my videos are on a clock like everything else. I don't know why they're on a clock, but I've noticed that they are on a clock. It's my body's on a clock. The words that come out are on a clock. I'm like, well, am I even saying anything? Am I even a real person? It's a strange thing to face, because I don't know what to think about it. You'd spend all those years categorizing things and developing a library for your understanding of the world, and then you see these patterns that are so fucking specific that you assumed were impossible, and now you have to try to figure out why they're possible, or you have to try to filter them out somehow so you don't waste time trying to figure things out. Yeah, so that's the mind of a madman, I guess. That's the endless rambles of fucking. I've already done this many times, so I'm very familiar with this crap. But it's part of my confidence in speaking is my familiarity with the script. I'm just laughing about my own script. I'm laughing about the patterns that repeat. It's like, well, why should I be afraid? Why should I be anything but cynical of the same bullshit when it is bullshit? So you kind of form yourself based on knowing the truth. Although that word truth is something that people say, oh, here we go with the truth, it's like, you never really know. I mean, everybody has their own viewpoint about what's important, I guess, but people say things are important, and then they might be right, and then they don't do anything to resolve it. They just say it. Well, maybe someone will take the words and turn it into something someday, when today it's needed. The observation is made today. So I don't know why we're walking in these script patterns. I don't think it's correct. It doesn't feel correct. But I've been abused. Every time I'm in pain, somebody has to fucking say something to insult me. Or they just don't help me at all. Or they don't even think. They just want to tell you about their fucking bullshit. Or they want to fucking, take up your space and make things difficult for you. And they totally dismiss your fucking reality. I totally dismiss it. They just say, well, you seem fine to me, or whatever. It's like, it's unbelievable. you could have all this fucking debilitating pain and people say, well, you seem fine to me. I mean, this is the reason why we have to keep it on record that this is what our judicial system is, because we can't do any better than that for some reason. I know it's hard to feel what somebody else feels, or impossible, right? But, to make the assumption that somebody seems fine because you have it checked in your mind, it's an error on your part, man. It's an error, and it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen, especially if you're not contributing to society. You're not helping anybody. But anyways, we have serious problems with society in terms of being helpful to people. And I don't know the history of humanity to be able to say, well, how many times have we had radical helping and tried to make things easy for people? My guess is that we haven't, because we just suck at that. We take everything as a threat, and somebody always knocks somebody down, even if the intentions were good. And you knock somebody who has good intentions down, and then it's like deactivating them, because they were trying to help, and now they're afraid of helping because they don't want that to happen again. So this sort of activate, deactivate humanity type thing seems to be, I don't know, seems to be a potential path for ultimately solving the humanity problem, which is, unnecessary suffering, needless suffering. But you watch people that have the potential to do something and then they don't do it, because they're not thinking about doing it. They're thinking about stupid shit, and why do we have stupid shit, right? There's always somebody creating some fucking bullshit for somebody else to fucking waste their time with, and then waste everybody else's time, because we don't have a stranglehold on reproduction, right? We just fucking reproduce at will, and we don't necessarily give a lot of consideration to what that really means. And so then you watch all this fucking atrocity happen, and you say, well, you didn't have the tools to begin with, and you took on the challenge. And unfortunately, it costs everybody, who's trying to protect a life, trying to save the human potential. It costs everybody. And, these things are complicated, right? But we have to find that path that takes us to the solution. A lot of people believe they've found a path, or they believe strongly in an idea, but that in itself doesn't solve the humanity problem. That just makes you feel good, right? The difference is you're feeling good, and so you believe this is good, but you feel you are chasing that good feeling, right? You are chasing that good feeling for reasons in your past, right? And when you finally find it, it seems like the solution for you, but not for everybody, right? So then, you take the next step of trying to recruit people or trying to spread the word, and that fails too. It may seem like it succeeds to you, but it ends up taking away resources for all and confusing people. And, essentially we have to take a step back and wait for actual agreement. By then, there'll be new people that don't understand, right? So we keep reproducing. So you have to have a way to communicate to everybody, or you have to be able to control reproduction, or we just run this ship until we all destroy ourselves. I don't know. The more you think about the problem that we're facing, it's too big for one person to see. Probably. Maybe it can be done, but from my angle, it can't be done, right? From my perspective, there's too much information. I categorize things, but then they stay there because they're not being destroyed, right? They still exist. So I can't hold on to too many things. But part of that is because I have this condition. My body tends to want to lock up and shut down, and I don't know why. And I fight for it. I fight for it to stay lubricated, but it doesn't matter because you do a job to survive, and the jobs kill you. I mean, you can't maintain this sort of thing all the time. You have to explain to everyone why you're different, and I can't explain it to you, but I'm trying to survive. And everyone else, they take it for granted because they're not faced with this. We're all faced with survival, but they're not faced with the same agony. And, they want to chit chat, they want to fuck off to feel good, they want to, they want that fucking external validation. And it's like, I'm trying to do my job here. I'm trying to fucking, survive like anybody else. And it doesn't matter, right? You have all these people that do this stuff, and they don't know true pain and true suffering, and that's how I have to build my own confidence. Say, well, they don't know. Just brush them aside, and hopefully they don't bother you too much, And but there are people that have been through some hard times, for sure, and they tell you that you want to give up, but you have to keep going, right? A lot of times they say the same story. Things get dark, things get you just want to give up. Say, why bother? But then somehow you find a way. I don't know, but this is what I've seen, right? Other people, they point to the scripture in the book, the holy book. It says, well, there's a lot of suffering happen here or in here, and you don't know. You have faith. You have to have faith and keep going. And say, okay, but I mean, we still have all these problems that keep happening. So why don't we use our own intelligence to solve them, instead of using our intelligence to do stupid shit we don't need? It's like every industry can be fucking solved because there's logical failures, And, there's ways of cleaning everything up, but nobody wants to do it. So I don't quite understand what exactly is the holdup here. It's just like an endless fucking, it's just, why do things have to be difficult? People are just people. People are trying to get by, and they should feel good, or they should feel neutral or good, or what, they should feel like they don't have to worry about all kinds of potential threats and stuff. We need to have some kind of solution. Maybe for some reasons I don't understand that it's impossible. Maybe, the energy exchange that occurs is greater than can be solved. I don't know. But I haven't heard anybody explain it. I've heard a lot of bullshit. But I haven't heard anybody give anything truthful, so I don't know. But I got nowhere to live in 8 months, so we're going to March, and once again, there's no space for me, and it's just like a big fucking joke at this point. I don't understand. I got all this library of information, and then now you're taking my life and using it just like the library. You're just saying, well, yeah, you're just like any other joke that was laid out before you. That's just like, what the fuck? So I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen at that point. Try to rehabilitate my body, but I already know how this plays out. My body cannot do this, right? It's torture. It's torture. So somebody has to use their fucking ability to make this problem go away. But it has not happened. I'm just counting time. I don't know why it doesn't happen, right? I understand people have all kinds of stuff on their mind, but this is a bottleneck of humanity, and the intentions are good, man. You're wasting good intention and you're honoring bad intention at the same time, which is evil. And the reason why I make these videos is because it's evil. It's right in my face. These are the things that need to not be. If you want fluidity, if you want a way to solve these problems, these are the things that can't happen. Oh. Yeah, so my body feels a little bit different starting today. I got past this I didn't get past the pelvic wall, but I got just to a point where now my back is changing. It's changing the way it holds me, and that brings a new awareness. Now I do have drugs in my system. I have muscle relaxants that I only take occasionally, very, very occasionally. I need sleep, or I use it for sleep. I don't use it for pain because it doesn't do anything. It's almost negligible for pain. The type of pain that I deal with is not just some localized, it's a full body thing. And you know, the I like over the counter ibuprofen or whatever, that's or Tylenol or whatever. These are things that can help sometimes and do help sometimes. But it depends on what kind of pain I have currently. You know, if it's just like blaring alarms, it's just like my body is just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Pain is hard to explain. But certain times the drugs help and other times they don't do anything. But otherwise, I'm anti-drug. I think this is, you know, the body is natural, but I don't know why my body is so poorly developed. You know, other than the fact that I was forced to do a lot of things I didn't want to do, and I faced injuries. I had the pain in elementary school, but there was nobody to report to. There was nobody trustworthy. And I was always worried about being yelled at for everything. And people kept doing it even though I worry about it. And people say, well, it's a law of attraction because you want, you know, I don't want this. But because you're thinking about it, then it happens to you. But that's, you know, there's all kinds of bad logic out there. All kinds of bad logic. What you doing, buddy? What you doing? Yeah, this cat is old, man. He's struggling to walk too, man. It's a tough battle. Tough battle. People don't care. I mean, my parents are no good and they've never been good. Yeah, anything I've learned from them is you know, is the same as what I learned from my pain disorder. It's just life is not good. Life is hard. And just sitting here watching them, you know, is not good. But being homeless is not good either. So either way, it's a bad scenario. I'm forced to fight for my life again. This is round 4. I think it's round 4. And unfortunately, the logic gets challenging as I age. I don't know if I'll be able to maintain the fluidity in my own body. I doubt it. But there's nobody that cares to help. There's nobody that people want things to be better, but not. You know, they use their energy to want things to be better. They don't make them better. Right? That's a whole different thing. What you wish and what you want is nice, but it's not enough to make it happen. You take two people with good intentions, just like a holy war, like in religion. You take two people that, two different belief systems, and they have a good intention, but they can't trust each other because they can't agree with the belief system, and then they go to war over it. Or you take two people that for some reason there's something biologically about the other person that you just don't like or you can't trust. And it doesn't matter if you agree. It takes a lot of effort for you to find that trust, and you don't know why. It's just something about somebody, their face, their movements, the way they talk. There's something about them that you just, man, I can't trust that person at all. And it has nothing to do with their intent, and you can have the exact same intent and purpose and believe the same things and want to accomplish the same things, but you just have trouble letting your guard down around that person because of the way they are. And yeah, that's a hell of a fucking battle right there. I mean, it's hard because you can't identify it, and you have to work toward dropping your defense system, which is already a waste of time. When you think you're trying to accomplish something and you can't trust the people you're accomplishing it with, you can't do a good job. So, you find these battles over and over, and again, it's just, it feels more and more like I'm just reporting the failures. I'm just observing and reporting the failures. And it's not, it's not a good thing, but a lot of things are not good things that keep happening. But people, they see your path and they predict it, and then they want to fucking interfere for no reason, just like the monkey in the jungle behavior. Somebody has to throw the banana at somebody else just for fun, and the other person doesn't always think it's fun, right? The same kind of things keep happening. But I can see in my eyes, I'm tired, I'm worn out, I've had lots of pain. You can see how hard somebody's been fighting by their eyes. Even when other things look normal, usually the eyes can't hide it. But it's not always true. I've come across exceptions to the rule. But a lot of times you can see who somebody is by looking at their eyes. At least I've gotten a little bit better at my movements. I seem to have more respect for this fucking beast because it's unforgiving as fucking. have to move just right, or that fucking thing brings the pain. And there are some times when the pain is unavoidable. You know, part of the unwinding, the reactivation process of the body is unavoidable. I think I'll make a comprehensive video about myofascial pain, just talking about the spectrum of dysfunction that occurs, because that's useful information. That's good stuff right there. It's hard for me to do because my mind keeps changing, right? As my body shifts, my personality or whatever, my processing is shifting and I feel different. And my ability to focus is changing, right? How I focus on information, if it's different, I have to like, I don't know what it is, because before I would feel pain as I'm focusing. And then now I don't feel it, but I feel spacey. I feel like, how do I focus, you know? It's the things that keep changing makes my overall awareness have to adapt. I have to keep adapting my awareness of every sensation in my body so I can, okay, well, how do I focus with this awareness? How do I focus with this awareness? I have to change, you know, I have to keep changing. You don't want to play these games. They're not fun. That's why this is good information. Because if you can avoid it, avoid it. You know, take time to listen to your body and just give it what it needs. You don't really know what that, you don't know how bad it gets until it gets bad. And then it's really bad. But if I can try to organize information about this battle. Although I'm forgetting things, I still have the logic, and that's important. I'm forgetting how bad it really felt 4 years ago. I remember I carry the trauma in that I remember how it was fucking bad, but the actual sensation disappears. So, you know, you can remember events, but the actual feeling that you had during the event doesn't always get recorded. There's certain types of feelings that can't be recorded. I don't know why. The body just, I don't know. There's a lot of pain that maybe is too painful to reproduce. I don't know. It's like the trauma induced from the pain. It makes you have to, sorry, my leg is twitching here. These are called mechanical tremors. They're not the same as like Parkinson's, where your nervous system is twitching. This is actually mechanics. This is from the tissue holding the way that it is. And then me asking my body to sit in this position. It's like, hey, I can't. In order for me to do this, I need all this other tissue to start doing its job. So it starts shaking. I'm like, yeah, but the other tissue is not here right now. It doesn't want to work right now. And it's a slow process to unwind everything. But it's shaping up to be right about 5 years. So the math for my recovery is 3 years of work equals 5 years of recovery. something like that, and I'm not working 24 hours a day, right? I'm working 8-hour shifts, 40-hour weeks, sometimes overtime, whatever, depends. But it doesn't seem to matter. I can only do 40-hour weeks for 3 years before my body fully shuts down, and then I have 5 years to recover. So the math is terrible. The math is really terrible. So in order to work, to make it work, I have to get enough money that I can save and then live off of for 5 years, assuming inflation doesn't keep happening, which is a big assumption. It hasn't really gone down. I'm not really sure. I have to have 3 years of work for 5 years of recovery, which means I need to make 8 years worth of money in 3 years in order to survive at a minimum, right? Which is really bad math. And then knowing that you're aging, and how does that factor in? Is my recovery time going to slow down? Is my body, is my body going to give up at some point because this is too much? I don't know. And then I don't have free time to think. I have to focus on recovering all the time. Even as I'm working, I have to focus on trying to get my body to calm down after doing the job. And how do I guarantee a job every 3 years or every whatever? Let's say if I work 2 years, recover 4 years, or something like that, how do I guarantee a job after that 4-year recovery time that pays well enough for me to save money to recover? It's just stupid logic, but that's the harsh reality of survival. When people are not helping you, this is the baseline of the system, that people don't give you a space to live and let you recover and say, don't worry about working, I can provide. People don't think like that. They think, oh, I'll buy more things with my extra money, and I'll just go on vacations, or I'll get bigger toys. People seem to be trained to not be helpful, and the ones who are trained to help are professionals. They have limited boundaries and they don't know everything, and it's not enough. It's not a sustainable system. People keep suffering, people keep dying, and nobody's picking up the slack. Everyone's trying to outdo each other in an imaginary world, but it's a fake world. I mean, this is the reality. it's got to get fixed. All right, that's good enough for now. See you next time.